This is the Mainframe Connect podcast, brought to you by the Linux Foundation's Open Mainframe project. Mainframe Connect includes the I Am a Mainframer series, the riveting Mainframe Voices series, and other content exploring relevant topics with mainframe professionals and offering insights into the industry and technology. This episode is another in the Mainframe Voices series, bringing together a diverse range of perspectives on mainframe technology and modernization from some of the industry's most respected voices.
Hello and welcome to this special Women's History Month episode of Mainframe Voices, brought to you by the Open Mainframe Project, a Linux Foundation initiative. I am Rahat, your producer for Mainframe Connect and host of Mainframe Voices series. In celebrations of Women's History Month, we have gathered insight from extraordinary women who were recently named first-time IBM Champions in 2025. These leaders are making significant contribution to the mainframe ecosystems. And today, they will be sharing with us the influential women and the advice that have shaped their professional journeys. Throughout this episode, our guest will reflect on the best piece of advice they have received from a woman and how has that impacted their career. Let's hear from these IBM Champions and the women who have influenced their success.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessielaine Punongbayan. You can call me Jelly. I have been in the mainframe industry for around 15 plus years. So I'm the current product manager in Dynatrace for mainframe observability. But I started out as a COBOL developer in the Philippines. And from there, I was able to work my way up, going to Singapore as a COBOL consultant, and then going to Czech Republic as a system administrator for mainframe, basically for IBM. And then I moved to Prague to be part of Zoe, which is an open mainframe project. And then now I joined Dynatrace first as a technical support for mainframe observability, but now I moved to become a product manager as also part of the mainframe observability. So one of the best piece of advice that I received, and this came from a woman colleague of mine before, and there are two things that she said to me. And the first one is that when people show you who they are, you believe them. And this is a quote actually from Maya Angelou. Um, and for me, it's something that impacted me a lot and make me think about how to handle the people around me that, because most of the time as a woman, sometimes there are a lot of moments that you do like imposter syndrome, or sometimes you tend to think that maybe it's my fault or something like that. I don't know, but at least in my experience, I always question myself because of the people around me or how people um, react around me. And what I realize is that sometimes it's not my fault. It could be my fault sometimes, but most of the time it's not my fault. And these are the people around there are just showing them who they are, and I don't have to doubt that. I have to believe them. Second piece of advice that I actually really really love, and at least what I always use in my day-to-day life as an engineer or as a product manager now, is that be unapologetic. Be unapologetic. You need to stop shrinking yourself so that you 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 should stop shrinking yourself to places that you've already outgrown. And I always put that in my head, put that in my heart, that in everything that I do it with integrity. I do it with expertise, and I don't have to shrink myself. I have to be unapologetic in the things that I decide, or in the things that I always put forward, because it's important for me, because I always know that the quality or the standards that I provide is very is up to par, is up to my standard. So if people feel uncomfortable with that, it, they should ask themselves why. And for me, it's just I have to be unapologetic in doing everything that I do. There are a lot of women who actually shaped my career today. So when I was reading this question, I was trying to think of like one person. For me, it's not just one person who helped me, who has like a big impact in my career. It's all of my women mentors in every step of my actual career. So when I was in the Philippines, I have a lot of women leads who helped me in learning COBOL and actually just doing my job. I started as a COBOL apprentice, so I have a woman COBOL teacher who showed me all of her tips and tricks, and I look up to her so much, and she helped me in being somehow a COBOL expert. My learnings or my understanding about COBOL and how the banking industry actually works, or how the system works in the bank in the Philippines where I work. I understood it from her. And then when I moved to Singapore, I also have women mentors who help me in doing my job. So I it's a big impact that there's this I saw, or at least when my career grew, it's centered to women helping other women and creating a community that you feel comfortable and you feel strong as a woman in contributing in this industry. And then when I moved to Europe, or specifically in Prague, I have a woman mentor who's an architect, and I look up to her so much because I do want to be an architect before, and I I always think of the saying that if you can see it, you can be it, and I'm happy that there are women in leadership that I could look up to and at least see that I could also be that one or that person one day. And up until now, I have a lot of women mentors who are helping me and who are inspiring me to be a better engineer, to be a better manager now every single day. My if if I were a student before, and if I'm giving myself that advice, if I want to hear from myself an advice, I think my piece of advice is that always be curious. As an engineer, as an an IT analyst, you always need or always keep that curiosity inside of you because that helps you be diverse, that helps you grow. Um, I think for me, innovation is so important because that keeps you curious in understanding what what can you do more, what what is what else is out there. I think for me, if you can see it in my career as well, like I'm a couple consultant, jumping from open source, jumping from support, or and then now I'm a project manager because I'm curious. I'm always curious, like what what is out there and what can I do? How can I contribute more? As one of the key factors to my success is that curiosity.
Yeah, hi. My name is Noor Aftab, and I'm currently the Senior Program Manager at Amazon Web Services. My team is Amazon S3. So I am working on the intersection of data, cloud, and AI. I have been in the industry for the last 15 years, working in data science. And more recently, over the last 5 years, I have pivoted into AI. I have been an IBM champion, the first time champion for AI and data services. I also serve as the chair of the NUM Focus Code of Conduct Working Group, where we ensure that there is exclusivity, ethics, and open source for data science and AI projects. I also share my knowledge with different conferences and events such as PyData Global, NUM Focus, and Anita B organization. So, Rahat, when I started my career, I was the only woman in a class of 36 software engineers. And I was in a room where it felt like I did not belong, where nobody looked like me. The only common aspect between my male counterparts and me was code and data. That's what joined us and brought us together. At that point, there was someone from the senior batch, and I reached out to her and she said, if space doesn't exist for you, then you go ahead and build that space. And that has been transformative advice for my career. Every time that I have been in an organization and felt like there's a code that needs to be done or a project that needs to be taken and nobody is doing that, I have raised my hand and I have done that. This is how I landed my role at Google and at Amazon. And this is what got me interested in IBM. And one example that I would like to give is only last year at PyData Global. I did a research on what is the number of women that are in data and AI roles. To my surprise, it was 22%. So I did a research. Women make up only 22% of all AI and data roles. I spoke at PyData Global and didn't stop there. I came to IBM and started a user group, which is Women in AI. And through this group, just started in December, we already have 20 members and like 50 are in the process of getting, we have the nominations and applications. So I would say to everyone, really take this piece of advice to heart. You don't have to wait for anyone. Don't wait for a hero to rescue you. Be your own hero. When I tell you about my story and I say that in a room of 36 software engineers, I was the only female. I thought, 15 years later, things would have changed. But most recently, about 2 years back, I was at an event organized by code.org, and they had 5 young women, and they were high schoolers, and they were playing with computer science, AI, data sets, going to Kaggle, doing that thing. Surprisingly, they listed all of the same challenges. There aren't groups for women. There isn't enough role models. There isn't sponsorship that's available. So one of the first things I would say is if you feel that you have a desire and coding seems interesting, or mainframe seems interesting, or AI space is interesting, go ahead and be part of it. Every time you work in a group, such as IBM has a lot of groups, mainframe societies, don't try to do it alone. Try and be a part of the group, and you will find the support in there. Computer science, I believe, I may be a bit biased, is one of the best careers for yourself. It's finding solutions, it's working on issues, and there is great pay involved in it. There is a great community, and you get to work on problems that impact all of us. I would really encourage you to take on this career.
Hi, I'm Christine Jenkins. I'm the Australian Country Manager and Director of Common Services at 21CS. And my journey started from a technical background. So I started out as a QA, moved my way into developer and development manager, and then up into my current role now. It's a piece of advice from a manager that I had who recommended to train your successor early. Don't wait until you're wanting to move into a different role. Just, when you're comfortable, you're happy in your role. And if someone else has expressed interest in trying that particular role out, give them the opportunity. Early on in my career, I got stuck in a role, and every time I tried to move out of it, I just kept getting pulled back in. So it was one of the most valuable pieces of advice for my career, because in doing that, I got the joy of seeing someone else try a leadership role and absolutely love it and excel in it. But then it also meant when an opportunity came my way, I knew that I could take that and be confident that I was leaving my team in very, very safe hands. And it was such a seamless transition between us. He believed in my potential before I did. And I think especially even when I didn't believe in what I could possibly do. And that gave me confidence into really try new things and step out of my comfort zone. She was also a fantastic role model. She demonstrated collaborative leadership, which was something that I felt an affiliation for. And so it was good to be able to see that in practice, and then to be able to take sort of learn from how she was leading and see how positively the impact that they had on the workplace. I think, well, look, if you're already in sort of the IT industry, stick with it, because it's absolutely brilliant and you meet some amazing people. Sometimes you might find things, if you finding things challenging, or you're second guessing your choice of career, mentors are fantastic to have, and they will also help guide you through through those periods and can give really good advice and help you with your confidence if that's becoming an issue.
Yeah, my name's Hannah, and I started on Z about 3 years ago. I first learned about Z through a job advertisement on Indeed. It said that there was a paid apprenticeship learning IBM ZOS. And frankly, I thought that it was a scam. But I did some more digging and actually talked to people who had been through the program and who were currently going through the program, and quickly found out that it was not a scam, that IBM was heavily invested in bringing on new talent and training them. So I jumped on board and I finished the pre-apprenticeship requirement through IBM's partner Franklin Skills. And I was placed with an IBM client, and that was Huntington Bank. And that was a huge privilege. For a year, I worked under the Department of Labor apprenticeship program and was eventually assigned to a production team, and that was DB2. I had fallen in love with relational databases and started learning from my teammates at the bank. Since then, I've had the privilege of moving on to the Internal Revenue Services at the Department of Treasury in the United States, and that's been great. I'm learning SMP more, particularly with ZOS, and I am hoping to get back into the database space. The best piece of advice that was given to me by a woman was, if you do not have the time to do something right the first time, what makes you think that you're going to have time at all to do it a second time? I've seen the spirit of this principle embodied best by my mother-in-law, because she does everything excellently no matter what. This has impacted my personal life as well as my career, because when I do something, I do it to the best of my ability, knowing that I could not have another time to go back and clean up or fix my errors. So I start with the mentality of doing it right the first time. So in thinking about female role models, there are many faces that come to mind who have made a difference in my life. Melissa Jimenez was the first person to tell me that a computer does not think in ABC, but in ones and zeros. Miss Marlene Flo taught me years of computer lessons in grade school. Dr. Ingrid Hart, who was my university accounting professor. Dr. Deborah Mims, who taught me the most thrilling university math class. And to my later surprise, I found out that she was pregnant and had morning sickness the whole time. This was quite a surprise because the class was riveting and dense, and I never perceived her to be struggling. This is the key to me, though, the mentality of endurance in life, regardless of the field, but in this case, in technology. Providentially, I have had many great female influences in my life. However, I was a daddy's girl, but not self-professed until now. One of my earliest memories is being zipped up in his jacket, bringing my brother to the school bus stop down the street. He's always been caring for me and helping me to learn to become responsible and independent. So when I was asked this question about who is a female mentor, I had to stop and think about it, but I quickly realized that it's my mom. In my memory, she was always the first to be awake in our house getting ready for the day. She was articulate, especially in business conversations. She was resourceful and organized. She was loyal to her marriage and her family, and she planted seeds, and by that I mean higher values that have been growing in me. She did not tell me how to live, but she showed me by demonstrating her love, humility, and selflessness. And this might not be relatable to people who are listening, and people might think that my mom has had an easy life, but that's not the case at all. I've seen her walk through terrible situations and circumstances, and have actually seen her grow stronger and her character been more refined through the trials. If you find yourself wanting to be in the tech field, the first thing that I want to tell you is there is room for you. We want to help you, and there are opportunities for informal and formal mentorships. Please reach out to people at the Linux Foundation in the Open Mainframe Project, or message us on LinkedIn. There are people who want to help you. And just like Jeff Bisty said in his mainframe training courses, that no one builds JCL from scratch. Here on the Mainframe, we don't make our careers from scratch. We stand on shoulders of giants, and we're here to help you. So please reach out to us and let us know how we can mentor you and welcome you to this wonderful space.
Hello, my name is Elitsa Popova. I work as a DB2 administrator as well as security ZOS administrator for BMC. I started my professional career in ZOS mainframe like 3.5 years ago when BMC hired me. My interest in mainframe started back in my university years when I got involved myself in extracurricular activities. Then I mastered the mainframe, which is now Z Explore. I recommend it to everyone who just starts. Eventually, I won a place on the Wall of Fame for 2017 for Master the Mainframe contest. After I graduated Bachelor of Computer Science and Software Engineering, I decided that mainframe is what I want to do. Well, I worked different jobs like full stack web developer, coding from HTML to PHP. But I've always liked the database and the way you can manipulate it and work with it. So when I landed in BMC, I became a mainframer in training. I was a complete fresher in the professional field of mainframe. And probably they saw I was good at DB2 for ZOS. I'm very thankful to my grandmother, who is 93 years old and still up and running, that I'm what I am now, that I have become what I am now in my professional career. Because back then, when I hesitated, shall I go for another university degree in 2016, she said, yes, it's never late to learn, go for it. And just to mention that I already had Masters of Art. I still have Masters of Art. And I was very hesitant to go for another degree, but I went for it because I like technology as well. So thank you, Grandma, for my dream career, mainframe. The best piece of advice from a woman was from my grandma, that when I hesitated, shall I go for another university degree in my 40s, she advised me to go for it. And this is where I met the mainframe, and this is where I am now, thanks to her. So I believe that's the best piece of advice from a woman in my life. The first time when I heard about Grace Hopper, she became my inspiration. So if you don't know who Grace Hopper is, just Google the name. Yeah, my advice to students who want to go for a professional career in IT in general is just try and see what programming languages you like, what approaches you like, and go for it. Because if you are money driven, then you will burn out very quickly, and you will find that what you do is not the things you would like to do. If you're interested in mainframe, I highly recommend to do the Explore. You can also do many interskill courses that are free. So the Explore and the interskill mainframe courses are all free and for everyone. So you just need to, if you're on LinkedIn, just search for it, just search in Google the Explore, and you will find it. And it's pretty well written and very well explained. So you can't miss to do a certain task in the Explore as long as you read very carefully.
Thank you for tuning into the Mainframe Connect podcast and this episode in the Mainframe Voices series. Like what you heard? Subscribe to get every episode, or watch us online at openmainframeproject.org. Until next time, this is the Mainframe Connect podcast.